in Auda as well is one that's very pressing. So insecurity is something that should be addressed. How are we looking at that area this time around? What are the steps taken?
Let me use this opportunity to commend the Commissioner of Police, the new Commissioner of Police, CP Disu, for his swiftness. With the Obirikwere incident happened, and in less than 48 hours, the kidnapped victims were freed. That shows that there's promptness, and I must say that I give that to the Commissioner of Police. Quite a lot of things. There was somebody I hear was kidnapped along a hotelier in Eleme axis too.
Yes, and
he's also been released. So insecurity is hydra-headed. I mean, it's something that is across the globe. It's not only peculiar to Rivers State alone, but even the federal government is doing its best to try to see how to, stem it. And Rivers State cannot be an exception. And I thank God that ours is at the level it is. If you recall what happened on Christmas Day in Plateau, and then the things that had happened in Kaduna and all the northern states, I think we should just be grateful to God that ours is insecurity, is everything that is wrong, but we cannot also use evil to compare evil. So I think that going forward, and if you know the determination of His Excellency, when you talked about the Ahuda incident, you recall that when the DPO was killed, His Excellency came out smoking, and he placed a bounty of 100 million. I've never heard of it before. It had always been in the region of 10 million. But for somebody to say, I will give 100 million if you can bring the perpetrators of that act, and that tells you the commitment of His Excellency as it relates to security. Because without security, you can't find peace.
Are there some permanent solutions, perhaps, that might be looked into? Because we have certain infrastructures around that airport access that belong to the state government. There's the hotel, and that many feel if it was up and running and we have some other form of development around those areas, it might go a long way in stemming, the problem of insecurity that we have around those areas as well. And we can't help but notice, I think we have to also commend the government, the street lights around the area that's been working for quite some time now. We don't know why the ones on top of Birikore are not working. Perhaps there's an explanation for that, but we hope it could or would be. Are there permanent solutions that the government is looking? Some people think job creation is the major way to go if we are to tackle that problem of insecurity and reduce the problem of gangsterism, which we refer to as cultism. Is that something that's been looked at?
If you know the agenda of, the blueprint very well, it's a 37-page paper. And it has created apertures for micro, small, medium enterprises. These are programs that even His Excellency from the outset had said he was going to float a 4 billion, which will help to rev up economic activities at various stratas, at various levels, such that those of our young men who are not able to be gainfully employed can be self-employed, those who are into barbing salons, those who are into ICTs and the rest of it. That fund is intended to be injected into the levels where they can assess, to the extent that he had even gone ahead to appoint a managing director for Rivers State Microfinance Agency. That tells you the commitment of government in trying to, for the youths, quite a lot of things are going on. If you have listened to the youth commissioner, you will appreciate that they have a lot of packages to get them out, because to treat an ailment, you must get to the causative. And where we are is to the extent that there is an ailment, and if you don't treat it from the root, then you are not going to gain anything. If you throw money around and do things that are artificial and people are not employed, then you're in for a sucker punch.
So we're definitely seeing companies coming into Rivers State, new ones, because we know we have several companies leaving the country.
Sure.
And many have said in the past, some companies that were in Rivers State have left. Yes. So we are seeing them returning.
They will return because His Excellency, that's why I said it is important that people visit our website to see what he has talked about, reindustrialization. Reindustrialization in the context that all the companies that have gone that have hitherto provided employment, quite a number of them will return, because you will need to liberalize the process to make it very attractive. I want to believe strongly that when that happens, then quite a lot will take place. It will help to stem insecurity, to help to create employment. And when somebody is gainfully employed, of course, rest assured that he will deliver.
Education is one critical area that many have also raised, and we had schools just resumed on Monday. We no longer have a commissioner for education at the moment. It might not be within your purview to decide what the delay is for why we don't have a commissioner, but we also know that it is possible that you have information about it, looking at your position in government. Perhaps one or two words might have been said about it, and you might have an idea. If you do, please, while you respond to this question, we would love to know what the situation is with that. But importantly, the last time schools resumed, when we had a commissioner, we know that the government had plans where books were distributed, trainings were held for teachers, and even though some people still felt it wasn't enough, but it was something. Now that schools resumed, we didn't really know what steps the government put in place, especially for the public schools. Is education still free? Do principals get running costs to run these schools on a daily basis? There are schools in some local governments where we've gotten reports and we've gone to see where kids still sit on the floor, don't have teachers. The list goes on and on in parts of Iche, parts of Aoda. You can name them. What is the situation with schools education in Rivers State? Especially at the primary level, we'll start with that.
With primary and secondary schools, the fees are still free. Nothing has changed, except to say that, yes, there may be dearth of teachers, shortage of teachers, but to say that there is also a 10,000 employment program. Which part of that 10,000 would be sent to the teachers? The teaching family. Because it will be spread across all other spheres, Some will be teachers, some may be nurses, and in other fields, as it were. So I want to believe strongly that will address it. And His Excellency had spoken during one of the commissionings we had. I think it was the maxillofacial, then at Garrison, the one at Garrison. And to say that the stage we are already is where we are trying to dot the I's and cross the T's. So once that employment is concluded and things take shape, I'm sure that quite a lot of the challenges as to absence of teachers and all that will be addressed.
Is that employment coming anytime soon? Is it happening anytime soon, at least within the first quarter of this year?
The process was even on before this government came. So we're trying to also tidy it up. Okay. It's not an easy thing to push 10,000 people almost at the same time. So you need to do a lot of due diligence to be able to get the best out of the millions that are looking for it. So on that note, that one is one issue. Back to schools. Government is a continuum. This is the second term. This government had paid the NECO and WAEC fees of our children who will be writing those exams. That's one aspect of it. I'm talking about also education. We have also brought instructional materials to be able to help our teachers to deliver their services to its optimum.
Were those materials distributed this term before resumption?
It's
like we had the last time?
It's a continuous process. They may not have delivered all, but the process is ongoing. Quite a lot of encyclopedias and dictionaries are being sent to schools. There's no way you can just resume, and then you find everything readily available. It's a process that will be getting to various schools in batches because of mobility problem. So you find a situation where people will be complaining, government is not doing this. Government is doing as much as it can do within the available resources. There are 36 states. I'm not too sure you could find 10 states that are running free education. It's not an easy thing.
Does the free education in Rivers State include school fees, books, school uniforms? You've said school fees are taken care of. Nobody pays fees. But uniforms, books, maybe other writing materials, are those things included in the free education, or those things that will be provided for by parents for their kids?
I wish I have other details. I've just been commissioner for less than 3 months, and I have not been able to look at those little details. But when I hear something is free, I want to assume that the greater percentage of what makes the whole is what drives the process.
Okay.
Even if salvation is free, you must buy a Bible.
They say Bible is free these days. You just
So,
collect.
but you need to buy a Bible.
True,
You know, to,
but we're bringing this up so perhaps you take note of them, and maybe when you get back to the office, you can look in the details, because we also have principals who do not get overhead. We know that there's something in the civil service, they call it impress. I don't know if that overhead payment to run the daily activities of schools. We've visited some schools and they don't even have monies to purchase diesel or petrol, to pump water, to, and they are saying we don't collect monies from these children of fees, but now these children need water for the restrooms to function. There's no way, because the monies is not coming for us to run these schools on a day-to-day basis. And then the markers that I even shared on the beginning of the term, some of them don't work. I have gone to see with my own eyes, and then we need to buy. But at that day when a lecturer or a teacher has to go to the class and then the marker is not functioning, he cannot call government then and say, we need marker, the ones you brought is not working. So these are some of the things perhaps would, if the government can look at and have a system where we don't just build the schools, but we have a system where the schools function even without anybody looking at them. There's something that's working. It will be great. We have a commercial coming, but we still have one question within education to ask. It concerns those who lost their jobs at the, I think, Ignatius Ajuri University. We'll need you to respond to where the state of that investigation is and whether or not those people are going to get their jobs back anytime soon, or at the moment we still have to wait. That's just one of the questions that we'll be asking, amongst many others. Of course, you know that we can't leave here without talking about the political situation. We've had the House saying they need the governor to re-present the budget, which is the major conversation we've had all this morning from Rivers people. Hopefully, we can hear a thing or two from you with regards to that. But first, we take a very short commercial. It's just for 3 minutes, and then we return to continue with the conversation. If you have questions that you would like us to ask the commissioner with us here in the studio, please send to us on WhatsApp 0809 030 6416. That is the WhatsApp handle. Get to us on Facebook as well, Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. We'll be back.
Nigeria Info. Right back after this.
Morning Crossfire. My guest is the Commissioner for Information in Rivers State, Joe Johnson. And if you've been following the conversation, he said a few things with regards to the government's plan in tackling insecurity, what we are looking at with regards to the economy and getting employment done and companies returning to Rivers State. Said it's a work in progress, and you can find details by visiting the website where you would get up-to-date information. Can we get that website address?
I will.
Okay. All right. You're going to get that as we make progress with the conversation. But then we were discussing education. And it's also mentioned a few things with regards to what the government is doing. The free education still on. Before we get to the crop of the matter again, which would be the representation of the budget and the opinion that a lot of Rivers people have, I know before we ask you, you're not the governor. And you might not have all the details, but in your capacity, people would be looking to hear, because when you speak for the government as well. So before we get into the budget situation, those staff of Ignatius Ajuri University, because of all we had and the government said there were some illegalities with that employment procedure, have been home for quite a while. Now, some of them had worked for a few months and did not get paid for the few months that they worked before they were dropped for whatever reason it was. We are quite aware that the management of their school, the VC and all, are still there, have their jobs, and they were the ones in charge of planning this employment. So if the workers are to be suspended, some people think it was really unfair that the people who were in charge of organizing the process still have their jobs, are still there, getting paid, while those people who worked a couple of months and were employed are now at home. Where is the stage of investigation with that, and what is the plan?
Well, like you have already said, this morning I heard that some people who were involved in that Ignatius Ajuru's had returned back. Those who were in the SUBEB, the State University Basic Education Board, those who were teachers who had gone there, they have returned back to their former place of employment. So I want to assume that that may just be a step to it. The larger picture would be something that will be unveiled when the processes are complete. I don't want to begin to tinker with something that had not been concluded. So if something had happened, once there's an action, there must be a remedy. So I want to believe strongly that when the government is done with what they are doing, the true picture will be unveiled.
So the confirmation now is that it has not been abandoned and government is still looking into that situation.
Yes,
and we'll
government is still looking into it. So once the government is done with it, the picture will be made clear to everybody.
All right, then let's come to this, which is a very serious one. The representation of the budget was something that came up, and I'd like you to listen to some things that were said by the lawmakers at the State House of Assembly just this morning, setting laws that they were looking at for traditional rulers and the rest of them. I'll just take parts of this. It was from the news. Lawmaker Enemi George spoke to newsmen on behalf of those lawmakers, 25 lawmakers who are said to be loyal to the Minister of the FCT. Some people also disagree and say we can't refer to them as lawmakers because they defected to another political party. That's all that politics. But that aside, this is what was said. That he spoke to newsmen on behalf and said they planned amendment of the Rivers State Traditional Rulers Law that would ensure that the chairman and members of the Traditional Rulers Councils cannot be unilaterally removed without 2/3 majority of the House. Now, some people say some of these laws could be politically motivated because this was a call that was made under the past administration a long time, but then we didn't see the House look into this law. Why now? I mean, you're going to have different speculations, but I want you to listen to what the lawmaker said himself.
The House is not taking away the power of the governor to do anything. We're only strengthening democratic institutions. One of the most important democratic institutions is the traditional rulers, the customary authority. So by doing so, if we've made laws to strengthen local government institutions, we're also making laws to strengthen traditional institutions so that traditional rulers can independently perform their functions without fear or intimidation. We need them to be more active in governance. We need them to be more active in the democratic space.
All right. And then also, during yesterday's sitting, the 25 lawmakers said they are still expecting the governor to submit the 2024 budget to them. They also agreed to write to the governor about their planned recess so that it would align with their calendar. And this is also what...
His Excellency the Governor is here to submit the medium-term expenditure framework. He's also here to submit to this August Assembly the appropriation bill for 2024. And we're looking at going on recess. So I want to put it to the House that there is need for us to send an official letter to the Governor, informing him of our intention to go on recess, so that we will know how our time, of the way we're going to operate this within the next few days or weeks.
All right. So how do you respond to both of those? Let's start with the representation of the budget.
If you may recall that it was only early last night you called me to appear on this program.
Yes.
And what you have reeled out were things that
happened yesterday as well.
Happened yesterday. And you know that I'm not standing on my own. I'm a man under authority, and I've not gotten any brief from my principal, the governor. So I would rather like to recuse myself from making any comments so that I don't sound immodest.
Okay.
So I would want to refrain myself within the reasons why I came here, just to give a scorecard of what the governor had done, because the perception had been that with the imbroglio that governance has suffered. I came here to be able to place it appropriately to say, look, month, day, week after week, government had been up and running.
Regardless of the political situation in this
Naturally, even the Noah's Ark, when the Ark was going down, not everybody died. Some people still survived if you go and read the Bible very well. So there may be challenges, yes, it's common with, even with Siamese twins, there are disagreements. So I don't want us to dwell on political...
But are there any new appointments? Because there are talks about chief of staff, and we haven't heard the government confirm or deny. Edison here is the name that comes up, and he has resigned his position as lawmaker.
You're speculating,
whether or not
you're speculating, you're the one speaking. If the governor appoints a chief of staff, he will either say it or he will direct his aides. Which
is why I'm asking, because I needed the clarity from you. I have said we haven't gotten any official statement from government, but since you're here,
he has never told me. So if he has not told me, then it will remain in the realms of speculations.
All right. We know you don't have a lot of time with us, so quickly, let's just look at some questions from WhatsApp. Good morning, Honorable Commissioner. Please tell His Excellency the Governor to not bow to threats or pressure to resubmit the 2024 appropriation bill. But I've asked him that question, and I'm sure you heard the response of the commissioner towards that. I will personally proceed to court against the governor if he goes against the law of the land. Do not to send that one. This one says, presenting the budget back to no-go area, I must say, it's a no-go area. Jaja Maxwell. This one says, please, I want to know if the budget will be presented again. Let the commissioner address that issue properly. God day time. Honorable Commissioner, kindly tell Rivers people the plan of government towards payment of their gratuities. Okay. I think this is something that you should also look into now.
Well, the governor is a civil servant, if I use is, because that's where he spent all his career in serving the state. And he knows the value of gratuity. And what he's been doing is trying to see how he can clear up quite a lot were outstanding. And the process is on, and some who are pensioners will agree that he's doing very well.
What is the working relationship between the state government and local government? Because, for one, I have been one person who has questioned a lot the activities of local governments in Rivers State. And I feel that they should be doing more than what we are seeing local governments do to foster development in this state. Is there something that is being done? Is there some working relationship between the state government and local government to see how perhaps different sectors of the economy can be revamped? Education, one of them. Health is another one of them. In some local governments, health centers are in very bad states. Some schools are in very bad conditions. And we know that they get monthly allocations. They get IGRs. They get monies that they make monthly. Some workers are not even paid salaries at the local level. In fact, when the state government announced the Christmas bonus, many expected that would that cover the local government. We did not hear anything. What is the situation like? relationship-wise, working relationship?
There are three tiers of government: the federal, the states, and then the local government, and they are all autonomous. So everybody is at liberty to operate within the confines of the law. The state government, yes, is overseeing the local government, whereas the federal government is overseeing the states. I want to believe that there is a relationship, but whether we're able to apply it appropriately is what I will not be able to say, because I'm not the one in the saddle. It's the governor that will be able to say how well they have all functioned.
But can you tell whether they have financial autonomy, the local government? Because that's what they've always said under the past administration, that their monies come to them. As that when nobody touches it, nobody asks them to bring anything for anything. All the monies come to the local governments. Is that still the case?
That has been the practice. If they have said it, then it means that that's the truth. They are the actors and they are the best interpreters of the action. So I don't want to sit down here and say, oh, there is anything that has changed.
All right, so we quickly take a few calls. 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0007. Good morning, Nigeria Info. Your name, where you're calling from, and straight to the point. Hello, good morning. All right, we can barely hear you. We have to move on to another caller now. Nigeria Info, good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome. Your name, please, and where you're calling from. All right, go ahead.
Because I want to get an impression. The 100 million banter, the governor promised, or if concerning insecurity, he said first of his kind. No, when during the former governor concerning Don Wane, the governor gave amount of 200 million on Don Wane, and Don Wane was caught. Then the other one again, concerning the budget issue, it was among the 8-point agenda the governor signed for him to represent that budget, because I was against 4 members. You understand? Signing River State budget over 60 million people, River State only 4 people. They're not to two-thirds. I know that they went to court and took another. So I'm happy if the governor will present the budget again to the full house. You understand? So to make it the way it should be, because Mr. President was against it, that you have to send that budget back to the full house. And another thing again, concerning security, please, we have some people supporting the governors. The way they make utterances is not good. People like Chijo Kinwo and Identity. Please, Commissioner, please help us and talk to these people supporting government. They should mind the way they make some utterances, especially Chijo Kinwo. His utterances is causing crisis here in grassroots. Please, you should be cautioned.
All right. Thank you very much. Nigerian, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
You're welcome. Straight to the point, please.
Gabriel calling from Port Harcourt.
Okay.
My question to the Honorable Commissioner is, in spite of this political crisis in River State at the moment, especially the State House of Assembly, division over here and there, please, I want you to tell us specifically what is the stand of the governor on this, because if it continue like this, it seems the budget will be presented twice. Please, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Those questions have been noted. Nigeria Info, good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead. Your name first,
my
please.
My name is Christina.
Okay.
And I have listened to the Commissioner of the Committee. He's trying to parry off a little bit of the question you put to him. I know he might be one of the communication experts, but I am not comfortable for him to defend his principle. And again, I am also begging that His Excellency should not present any other budget, because they have presented the budget to the legitimate person who represented the House of Assembly. And so any other budget is going to present again means doom. Thank you very much. Good morning.
All right, good morning, Nigeria Info. Good morning. I lost that call. Hello, good morning, Nigeria Info.
Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning to your guests in the studio.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is the first discussion about companies leaving River State and those ones coming in. My concern in this very side is that I found out that in providing employment for the youth in River State, we have all divert our attention from companies residing in River State. So giving employment to youth on for those who work in the state civil service. That is, we no more talk about the companies residing in River State again. We always depend on government providing job opportunity for youths. That is number one. Two, the House of Assembly members who are seeking that the governor should provide, present the bill for 2024. I think that was part of the agreement reached, and that I will not see any sense in discovering that people are bringing arguments, forcing the governor not to comply with the decision and all that, when there was an agreement reached. Because it is out of what they come up with that we are also depending. I think in Abuja, there were 8-point agreement reached. And now people are coming up that the governor should not comply to that. Is it not going to bring more anarchy and misunderstanding problem in the state?
Your point has been made. Thank you very much. Because the commissioner is already looking at his time. He has other engagements. So quickly, let's get your response to this before you leave. Did the governor sign that agreement? It's been one question that's been asked many times.
Femi, we have passed that level.
I
don't want us to go back to it. And I've already said to you that my mission to this station today is to give a scorecard of what the governor has done, will do, and may have concluded. So I want us to regiment ourselves within.
So in other words, the government
discussing the matter that had
passed.
Already.
Okay. In other words, you're saying then the government will be focused on implementing the budget.
I have told you that these are the things we have done, and they were not things that were done from the blues. So to be talking about presenting the budget.
No, I'm not talking of presenting. We're talking of implementing now.
Whatever the governor had put as a budget, whatever he had, if you call it proposal, those are the things that he would work with. Whether he presents or does not represent, it's not my business. That's what I've come here for. I'm not going to discuss that, but I've just come to say, look, this is where we are. This is where we're going forward, because it's a new year.
All right. Before you go in just 1 minute, and we go back to the phone lines. Agriculture.
We visited the Songhai farm, you recall. And then the governor had also said that he was going to release our agricultural lands to major investors. The governor had also said too that he was going to encourage investors in the palm oil, commercial oil and palm oil production. So our school to land and all the agricultural lands that had been lying fallow, these ones will rev up employment for our teeming youths. When I talked about the MSMEs, it's a departure from what you have in the ministries. The 10,000 is just a section of what government intends to do. And if we liberalize the process, people can be self-employed, people can create employment for other people. So when the man who spoke from, my brother who spoke from Bori spoke about us only looking at the 10,000 civil servants, it's not so. When we make the process liberal, investors will come and many more things will happen. In the area of agriculture, you already know, I've already said that the governor is going to create a corridor for us to have food security as it were in the past, so that we'll have enough to even eat with the little monies that may be in our pockets, so that people can take their eyes off vices that will bring restiveness.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner, for your time. Hopefully, we get more information as they come with regards to activities of government. We hope that when we call you, you would make time to always be available for us.
Sure.
Thank you again for your time. All right, we have to let the Commissioner move on now. He has other engagements to meet up, and we're already eating way into his time. I know he would pardon me. Let's get back to you now and open the phone lines. There's quite a lot you have to say. I'm sure you've heard what my guest had to say about government's plans for the new year so far, and there are several questions that we have asked him. What are your thoughts? 0817-923-0007, 0817-923-0003. Nigeria Info, good morning.
Good morning once again, the very distinguished Ifemi and rising this morning.
Fine, thank you. What's your name, please?
I remain the very distinguished Temple Oteri.
All right.
Speaking right now from a chair.
All right, Temple, go ahead.
Yes, permit me to salute the wonderful, honorable Commissioner, Mr. Joe Johnson, sir. I celebrate you, sir. And the very distinguished Ifemi Andrew. In as much as the question already, which you have directed to us, the rates, how we can rate this current administration led by His Excellency Siminala Rekpara. For me, I will say it is quite too early, but so far so good. Based on the programs and policies, I will say that this government, for me, is indeed perfect. Yeah, whatever programs and policies and whatever the government has put on that is nothing but a perfect one. But I also want to appeal to the Honorable Commissioner, looking at the issue of education, where we say we are having some kind of a free education. Sir, is there any amount, no matter how small, that is set aside for the pupils to pay, apart from the free admission and all the rest of them, in as much as some of the principals are also collecting money for work fee, but are they committed to pay for security fee, to pay for desk, to pay for job, to pay for matter, to pay for register, or whatsoever? Thank you so much.
All right, Nigeria Info, good morning. We lost that call. 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0007. Good morning, Nigeria Info.
Good morning, Andrew.
Welcome, good morning.
Greetings to your guest in the studio here.
Good morning, my brother.
My name is Ezekiel Ojono, calling from Ubumini. I want to use this opportunity to thank the governor for looking into the communities that have boundaries with another state. Just like he went to Eche to inspect the road that is to be fit on. He should also come to Ubumini here because we have a boundary between Imo State, Aurat, to be precise, in Ohaji local government. So the road is needed an attention because of the business activities within that road. So we are no longer, and we don't have the accessible and the comfortable means of transacting business with those communities in that Imo State area.
Okay.
So that is the information I want to give to the Commissioner of Information for him to know that there is a community called Ubumini in the name of a local government area that needed
thank you very much.
Attention.
You already made that point. It has been noted. Thank you. Let's move on to another caller. We don't have a lot of time. It's been noted. The Commissioner has chosen to continue with us, so he's still here in the studio.
You, brother man, Andrew.
Good morning.
City of Yenegua.
You're welcome.
My name is As a matter of fact, without wasting much time, I want to say that His Excellency the Governor, this is my personal advice to him, should occupy himself more with governance rather than issues of godfatherism, pen and no pen. As it is, I tell you of the truth, the governor is being distracted with these issues. And I don't know how he's going to contain some of the agreements reached, but he just has to abide by what he has signed for peace to reign. Governance is key to us as Rivers people. So the governor should engage himself more with governance rather than these quarrels we hear about in the pages of newspapers, which people are making so much money from. I repeat, a lot of people are making so much money from these issues they are having.
Okay.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Honorable Commissioner, you heard most of the callers. Just to add to something that they said, so you wrap up in less than 2 minutes. Some people, some civil servants say the 100,000 naira for the Christmas bonus, they didn't get it. Some of them have said that it didn't get to them.
That issue has been cleared. Some of them protested to Government House Gate on Thursday, and the head of service, Dr. Nweke, addressed them and assured them that the next day, which was last Friday, that they will all get. I'm not too sure there are agitations anywhere as to whether anyone has been paid. It's been paid. It was a problem with the banks, intra-bank transfers. For government to had already released the money to over 40,000 servants, which is in the neighborhood of about 4 billion.
And local government workers were not included in those, were they?
I don't talk for local government.
Okay, few seconds. How would you respond to the callers? Just in 20 seconds, please.
Just to say that the governor is a pacifist, has been preaching peace, and I would rather think that the governor has spent 98% of his time, on governance, and the other 2% naturally will address other issues. Rivers State government is up and running. Everything is working according to plan, and I want to believe that
Commissioner.
We'll get to.
But local government, please. I know there's something that the government can do. Let something be done. Thank you again for your time.
God bless you.
Story. Once upon a